Hello, dear friends. The Creator could easily surprise us with loud and imposing demonstrations of his power, but most of the time he doesn't. Instead, he whispers softly under his breath and brings change gradually without being barely noticeable. There will come a time when it will be very noticeable, perhaps too much noticeable. Opinion piece. Symptoms of change. Prepare for what is coming. Awakening is the cry of the soul. An energetic adjustment is necessary. You will become a new living being. Consciousness is the key of change. The key to change. You feel strange because you are changing. The world is undergoing unprecedented change. Be prepared to remember your past lives. What is coming is not sudden, but in stages. Only 12 writers stewards are needed. Final wake-up call by Peter B. Meyer. The good guys have no need to control us. The wait is for the collapse of the debt system. There are 14 avatars to facilitate the transformation. Very little is known about them because they labor in secret. Among them are Mahu, Babaji, Mejnour, and Germain. Let's start. The dark forces, which have had unrestricted freedom for hundreds of thousands of years, are now facing the forces of light, which, through great effort, are making progress to eliminate these negative forces as best as they can, according to Peter B. Meyer. The good ones have no need to direct and control our lives because that is against the universal laws. Going through a spiritual awakening is one of the most confusing, lonely, and alienating, but also extremely beautiful experiences in life, according to Aletheia Luna. Simply put, awakening marks the beginning of your initiation on the path. Without experiencing an awakening, we go through life in search of empty power, prestige, and money, in a vain attempt to find happiness. The disturbing and beautiful things about the spiritual awakening is that it happens at the least expected times. There is no way you can control it. It throws itself upon your life and shakes everything up like a tornado. But the hidden gift is that it happens at the precise moment when you need it most. Spiritual awakening is the soul's cry for freedom. Listen to its call and your life will be transformed into something meaningful. Reject his call and your life will be like a graveyard. If you have experienced an awakening, you have come to see through the illusions of this world. Deep in your soul, you realize that nothing external has ever brought you true happiness or fulfillment. This realization leaves you longing for something more satisfying that will make you feel fulfilled. Energetic adjustment. Awakened ones who have now accumulated enough higher frequency energy can further prepare for the world transition. If people think this is a natural and automatic right, they are wrong. Not only is a positive attitude required, but the body must first be thoroughly cleansed of all the toxins that have accumulated over the years. It is not easy for anyone to engage in this process, which is never ending for the time being. The wait is for the collapse of the debt system. It's important to have faith in this divine plan. Do not give up now. The worst is over. The energetic adjustment of the physical body must be made to change the carbon-based matter to crystalline matter. Many souls have already made the necessary plan for incarnation and have decided not to go through this process. So they disincarnate before the change takes place. Others of us have decided to complete the transformation from material life to spiritual life. It is a series of symptoms that are related to the adaptation to the higher frequency that every living being is experiencing. Everyone experiences this shift, and there is no escaping it, even those who have not chosen to let their souls ascend during this lifetime. For them, too, the day will come when they will feel a frequency contrary to their own. Symptoms. The energy that is generated in this period will modify and cleanse the physical body through a complete detoxification. Various symptoms are already experienced, such as pain and discomfort in the stomach and intestines, bloated belly, burning sensation in the stomach after meals, liver, gallbladder, and bile problems, some kidney discomfort, transient diarrhea, nausea and vomiting, extreme fatigue, sleep irregularities, and few others, too numerous to mention them. Most of these symptoms are related to digestion. Many people cannot eat certain foods that were previously palatable. They arouse some aversion because the body doesn't accept them. The amount of food eaten compared to before begins to weigh much more, so less is eaten. The turning point is about to happen. Everything becomes more intense and lively. This process cannot wait. Those who are ready cannot wait either. From above and from below, energies penetrate the earth and come together now. This is the moment long awaited for centuries and millennia. We are on our way to the new earth. Expansion of consciousness. As your consciousness rises, the universe provides you with new packages of wisdom and new tasks. Notice how certain information wasn't understood until recently. Notice how they now have meaning and are easily understood. And tomorrow, you will be different than you are today. Everything is accelerating at the same rate as the Earth's transition. You must remember that you will know, yet you will not receive information if you are not prepared to understand it. The universe doesn't waste time. It never makes mistakes. It never takes you in the wrong direction. It knows exactly what your soul's plan was for this current incarnation. No one will receive new information if they are not prepared to receive it, understand it, and pass it on. False disseminators will have serious difficulties in maintaining their position because expanded consciousness are able to distinguish the real from the illusory and cannot be deceived. The new information will be understood only by those who are capable of understanding it. This will be decisive because those who are ready cannot wait for those who don't want to make the changes themselves. Now the era of the material being is over. We are going to live a new era, the era of the spiritual being. All those who ascend will understand that we are not just a body. They will understand that we are an expanding consciousness, a consciousness that is but a fraction of another greater consciousness, which will integrate little by little with higher versions. We are coming home, not to a specific place in the universe, but to our home in our own consciousness. We will understand more of this as we expand this fragmented consciousness in this body of matter. We will become aware very quickly of who we really are. The veils are lifting. Wrist game. We are in a worldwide restart according to Scotty B and Wolverine. The game has always been risked. Most people invest their savings in the stock market, with financial institutions offering investment packages. When it falls, and we are now in a downtrend, 95% of normal people lose it because they can't sell short. The best investment in times of recession is precious metals. People will flip metals and send prices soaring. Supposedly. The cryptocurrency market is also falling like crazy. We suggest ISO 20022 regulated cryptocurrencies like XRP, XLM, XDC, ALGO, IOTA to be used for the new system. We do not suggest Bitcoin or Ethereum, as they will not be used for the QFS. People need to see the big bad restart to believe it. We will restart on Gisara, not the old globalist world order. We, the people, let that happen. We created this problem, and we work for these companies and governments around the world. Our collective fear went too far, along with the energy of greed and the need of wealth control and power. Our lack of knowledge, information and education hit the problem in plain sight. It all started inside, not outside. We the people need to take our power back now. Be happy with your healthy life and forget about corrupt government because it will be eliminated. Some say money can buy happiness, but money can only buy material things. Real wealth comes from real treasure, making real things and providing real services, which are the opposite of debt. This needs no further explanation. Timelines. Starlink would be the link to the new quantum system according to Sharon Stewart. The more people that are convinced to go quantum, the better for the people on Earth. This will indicate which timeline they are on. There are two timelines at this time, a quantum timeline directed by universal law and another artificial timeline which is also subject to universal law, but they have been taught to reverse their polarity while they are on it. Overcoming the dark side has been primarily financial. That is the way to bring them down at first, because they created that system. Encryption. Everything will be encrypted so that your banking information and your money will be safe. You will not be required to move your bank account necessarily. However, it must be with a bank that is part of the QFS system. Not all banks are right now. Some banks are being taken down, such as Deutsche Bank, for money laundering practices. First, the new world will be made known through conversation, and then how to connect to the new system will be outlined. The media is also changing to honor freedom of speech. Tweeting will become the method of communication it once was for many of you. It has not been easy to get a message out, and Starlink has been under attack, but the damage was easily repaired and the culprits arrested. When the TV stations start to become quantum, you will hear more. This is part of the technology that needs to be produced. Production is underway and will not take long. New banks will emerge. You will start to see online banks with names like quantum saving banks or things like that. White hats. Ancillary white hats reports. What is really coming will come in stages with respect to large sovereign financial transactions. A series of carefully planned, financed and realistic structured events that will find their way to the corners of the world where the need is most present. The key is the security of the Chinese Seniors Fund, of the ancient Chinese. elders. That security is achieved by being in the trenches, face to face. An iron fist is needed to safeguard such funding, for at any time such resources would be raided if allowed. Elders are advised to reject one shady deal after another, all designed to benefit the few and not humankind. The hand that rocks the cradle is ever alert to such deals and will stop them in their tracks. The elders will trade for funds and viable programs, and then expand and bring hope where it is needed. The key spirit is to build an extensive global sovereign wealth fund, protecting at all times the integrity of the capital base of assets, allocating accumulated earnings to designated humanitarian needs, and allocating others to long-term income investment for the fund. 12 righteous men is all it takes to manage change, and they are there. A true round table of honor. After the launches, there may be potential opportunities available through a very strict selection process. We have very few details on this at this time, but rest assured, when the time comes to proceed in this manner, proper notification will be given through legally appropriate means. Humanitarian projects. Humanitarian projects by J. Gurdjieff. A little known fact is that the Chinese elders liquidated the Federal Reserve in 2012 and 2013, based on the fact that they were issued bonds against their gold reserves, which they used to fund the Fed under the belief that it would use the funds in the most appropriate and beneficial way to uplift humankind. Digital warriors, it only dawned on them a couple of years ago, when the Treasury announced legal control of the Fed. The Chinese elders were patient in waiting for the right time to help initiate the shift from dark to light, guided by information from the higher realms. This process of change is being orchestrated by advanced functions of every sentient life form of every embodied disposition on this planet. The Insta races have done the most of the behind-the-scenes work for the accumulation and redistribution of wealth because they are more genetically oriented to sharing humanitarian efforts. These Insta races are custodial owners of the lion's share of all the world's historical assets. They are wealthy custodians to effect the magnificent change that is knocking at our door. In terms of humanitarian projects, there is a divine system, rebuilding infrastructure, developing new technologies, banking system, educational system, governing bodies, free energy, pollution, eradication, longevity, etc. Avatars. There is a system of advanced beings who implemented procedures far beyond our imagination. Spiritual beings and tax-aligned beings who desire no publicity to give us all the credit. There are at least 40 avatars on this planet at this time to facilitate the shift from darkness to light. Nahu in charge of cultural and social change. Germain is trusted with political and financial change. Babaji with spiritual change, and Mejnour, incarnated in Russia, who has been operating in isolation for the last 800 years in a Siberian forest. Mejnour was the teacher of the famous alchemist Zanoni, who knew eternal life but died for love, according to the famous novel of the same name. James Mahu is the teacher of the Lyricus organization and translator of the Wingmakers materials. Mahu is a member of a teaching organization whose roots are very ancient, but paradoxically is very connected to the future of humankind. This organization is concerned with transporting the teaching of streams of sensory data to F in order to catalyze selected individuals from the next 3 generations to bring innovations to the fields of science, art and philosophy. Very little is known about Lyricus because it is the most enigmatic teaching organization. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.